introduction. So, my name's Doug. I'm the founder of Hipster, and you'll very quickly learn a little bit more about Hipster. But I'd like to preface this by everything I say here is, of course, it's just data, right? It's just, in my opinion, that hopefully can be helpful for you guys in some sense. And take what you will and leave what you will. And if you completely disagree with me about something, come tell me afterwards. I won't be offended. So, Hipster 101, this is using PR for fun and profit. So hopefully we can do both.
Do you mind if I move your slide, because you can't block your view? I'm sorry about that.
Sure.
Okay, Jordan.
Salim, can you just move your chair, please?
Yeah, probably easier.
Did you say here?
Yeah.
See, that could have been a PR disaster. That was planned.
Actually, that was part of the plug.
Yes, it was. All right, so I want to speak about a specific kind of PR. There's a type of PR you can get when you hire an agency, and there's pluses and minuses of this. Our PR budget so far has been zero, and that's probably the right budget for us going forward. That was Google's PR budget for a very long time as well. Stay away from these guys, in my opinion, before we jump into stuff. The professional PR people. My experience with them has never been great. It tends to be a lot of the same advice over and over again. Eric Rees was here a few weeks ago, talked about how generally they just try to plug personal profiles of the CEO to make you feel good, and they do the benefit of charging you $10,000 a month. I think we can do a lot better than that and put our money to better use. And so the challenge to remember is the game here is rigged overall, in that everything you do for your startup is difficult. In hiring, job boards don't work. In terms of trying to reach out and generate publicity with the press, traditional press releases don't work. In trying to get users, traditional best practices, SEO, it works less and less. When there's thousands and thousands and thousands of companies employing these same techniques, you sound like every other person and get lost in the crowd. So the answer to this is to be like Neo, and remember there is no spoon. It's to look at the situation and think, as Steve Jobs might have said, think different, right? Take the most outlandish thing you can think of that, when you're brainstorming with your co-founders, what if we did this? And if it's never been done before, that's probably the way to go. So that's kind of the theme of my presentation, is that if it sounds crazy and it sounds different, do it. That's probably the right thing to do. So briefly, I'll go through this real fast, a little about Hipster. Hipster is, we're actually kind of secret now, but for what you guys will be using it for, it's a fun and easy way to share where you are and what you're doing, and also get to see what's going on around you and what has happened in that place. So it's a really fun product. We'll be launching about 2 months from now, so it's a little PR for my company. A few months ago, we raised a $1 million seed round. We had some really cool investors. It was fun. If you guys would like intros to any of these people, let me know. A little about me. This is my second company. I founded a company called Madcast. At Techstars, we were the first class in 2007. We were then picked up by ShareThis.com in 2008. I was then recruited to run the product team at a company called Social Vibe in Los Angeles. And there we built some of the offer walls, the brand advertising offer walls used by Zynga and other big games, Farmville, Cafe World, etc. A little more about me. This is my wife Sarah, my daughter Charlotte. We have another baby on the way. Baby in a new startup, it's a lot to do. We have a dog, and for those of you who haven't figured it out by now, Richard and I are brothers and know each other for a while. So that's a little about me. So what can PR not help with? So talking about PR in general, right? As startup founders and as people in the scene, there's a real backlash against what's considered PR, what's considered marketing. Led with the attitude by Fred Wilson. Fred was great. I read his blog every day, but his quote, "Marketing is for companies who have sucky products." And if you substitute marketing with PR, correctly done, they're one and the same. And I actually fundamentally disagree with this approach and with this attitude. I completely agree that PR can't fix a terrible product. Color, sorry Color, I don't know if anyone's here with Color or been with Color. The Segway, can you believe they actually thought you'd do counterterrorism things on Segway? Like, come on. New Coke, Google Wave, these are all examples. Great PR teams, actually, fantastic. Can't fix a crappy product. So Fred's right about that. However, product market fit is one of the last things you achieve in your company. Up to then, there's a million things that you need to do and you need to focus on that I firmly believe good PR, good promotion, good marketing can help you nail. So what can PR help with? Helps with everything else. And so I'd like to give some examples from my experience about how PR has helped me in 3 specific areas. And if I'm running long on time, stop me and I'll blow through it. But 3 things that you guys need to do, I promise you, and I have some hints for what you can do as well. So basic awareness of your company in an incredibly saturated, hot market. Fundraising. I mean, is anyone planning on not raising around at some point? I mean, pretty impressive if you're doing it. And then hiring. Everyone's probably thinking about hiring right now. And by the way, PR can help with other things like office space and payroll and home loans, but that's a very different story. So finally, before we jump into the specific examples, I'd like to remember this theme kind of underlies everything I'm going to say. With my examples, get to love the press. That getting good press and getting press in general is the easiest thing to do in the world if you remember one thing. It's that these press people are desperately waiting for a good story. They're bored to tears, right? Writing about the same thing. A few weeks ago when I was talking to a pretty prominent tech journalist about the newest thing my company was doing, it's like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to spend the rest of the afternoon chasing down Google Plus rumors, right? So something new and something different, I guarantee will get you press from somewhere. And I know not everyone is focused entirely on the tech world. There's a lot of overlap. It's even easier in the health world because you don't have this, this overwhelming flood of stories headed their way. It's actually give them something interesting and they'll write about it. So remembering that, I'd like to talk about what worked for my company, and maybe some of this will work for your company as well. So we launched a product last year in a test in October in Boulder, Colorado. It was a little local question and answer, local service, and it was going really well. So we decided, all right, it's time to how do we expand our horizons? How do we start to generate a little awareness? And but we realized this is what we were going up against, trying to break through the noise. Big companies, Apple, Facebook, Google, Groupon, who blink or hire one person, and it's not article about it. It's amazing. Incubators. I just listed 4 there, but the top 2, Y Combinator and Techstars, are now accepting like 40 to 50 startups per class, sometimes 2 to 3 classes per year. So the startup incubators with the largest megaphones are 200 startups a year by itself. Like, that's an incredible amount of noise coming from these places. How do you compete with that? And finally, hot startups themselves. Path, Zarly, Airbnb, Square, who are a lot like the big companies, but even sexier. So we knew we had to do something different because we were going to get drowned out. So we decided to break the rules of, after a lot of brainstorming, a lot of practice, and figure out what could be different, what had never been done in terms of generating a little press. So we launched this little page. I don't know if any of you saw it at the time. So Hipster, something cool is coming to San Francisco. And it was geolocated to where if you're coming from New York, something cool is coming to New York. If you're Chicago, something cool is coming to Chicago. We wanted to give something different, something a big beautiful picture that's something that doesn't happen very much in the startup world. A little bit of a tease, a little bit of local personalization, with a little email invite list. The idea was you put your email address in, and on the next page, you were able, if you could get bumped up in the line if you invited 3 friends. Well, that plus the name, but that's a whole different story. This little gimmick paid off. Again, thinking different. We were getting for a while an email sign up every second. That was only for a minute or two. It slowed down after a while. Our Google Analytics, this is just a small bump there. In the end, we had about 150,000 page views from this. And within 1 day, I think, or 2 days of launching 10K signups within 2 days, in the end, we ended up with 37,000 coming soon signups. And so this was the result of both trying something that hadn't been done before and it paying off. But that's how it looks on the surface. Behind the scenes, it was an incredible amount of hacking the press. When I say hacking the press, there's thinking about how press is bored, they want stories, they also hate being scooped by other people. So what we did is once we got one little story off this, we then approached everyone else with a unique angle about the story. Hey, do you want to know the results? Hey, do you want to know how fast they're coming? And we played them off each other. Again, they're bored, they want unique stories. TechCrunch hates getting scooped by All Things D, who hates getting scooped by Mashable, who hates getting scooped by the New York Times. So we were able to play their desires off each other for a while and keep this story that could have been pretty small with some real stats and kept the PR going.
Did you tell them that you're doing this or not? Did you tell them, hey, we have this story, we're looking to give it to maybe Levi
Absolutely.
Whip, or you guys, whoever wants to.
We'd like to give it to you exclusively, but Kara Swisher at All Things D is also interested in writing this story. If you want it, and you agree to write about it today, I'll give you the exclusive stats, things like that. Yes.
When did you see the uptick actually in signups, right? Because you put that page out. Did you know
like
it?
a day?
A day.
Within
okay.
actually in a couple hours. So we seeded it with on Hacker News, little things, just a few little things, but it went to the right people, right?
Yeah.
Which is far more important than spamming everyone. So what can you do? I'm trying to make it tie in what we did with a little we can do. Have you heard of Launch Rock? So they stole what we did and turned it into a company. Despite my feelings about that, it's actually great. If you don't do it, if you're trying to start a regular consumer internet service, like if you're trying to do a photo sharing app, don't worry about it because everyone's done Launch Rock. But you guys are in a unique space. You're in the medical health science field. This hasn't been tried in a Launch Rock style page in for medicine or for health or for a book or whatever. So it's a unique way of getting press and signups. Use that to generate press.
Just beware their servers were down twice last week.
Yeah, they have issues. Like maybe because they're being so successful. So it's so yes. So so basic awareness, it worked, and use LaunchRock. You will get that basic awareness as well too. I feel like this is tied in fundraising for us specifically was tied into basic awareness, right? Because again, we ought to raise money, and we had our warm network of people who could commit. But man, it's a crowded world out there, right? Thousands of stars. We're approaching a new bubble. If you're Dave McClure, through AngelList, you're getting hundreds of requests a week, right? So how do you break through this? What do you do? So what we did is we decided to use the press and attention we've been getting, and use that to kind of set ourselves apart from everyone else. If you haven't, by the way, decided if you haven't heard of AngelList and gotta know it, gotta love it, do so because it can be helpful. But this is what I'm going to talk about. So what I did is I went through and took a list of look at the top 200 investors listed on AngelList, because you can do that. The top 200 most followed, people who've done most deals. And what I decided to do, and you can actually copy this exactly if you want, is find their email address from somewhere other than AngelList. Because coming through an AngelList email, odds are, again, you're getting 100, 200 a week. You're going to stop paying attention to it. So I spent a few days, found the email addresses through other things of these top angels, send them an email exactly like this. In fact, this is the one I sent to Mitch Kapoor, who ended up investing $200,000. To Mitch Kapoor from Doug Ludlow, subject: Mitch, are you a hipster? So that got his attention, I think. Mitch, my name is Doug Ludlow, chief hipster at usehipster.com. I want to ask you if you'd seen today's rather clever Washington Post article about us. Linked to the article, gave him the chance to follow up. Did this for 200 people, and almost everyone followed up. Some, most were saying, saw the article, thank you, but we'll pass. But this led to actually a fair amount of investor interest, intros, basically using. Have you heard of the concept of social proof in fundraising? So this is an extremely strong sign of social proof, linking to the Washington Post, linking to Mashable, linking to a legitimate tech blog. Or a health blog. Look at Newsweek, Time. All these places have bloggers who are desperate to write about things. Who will write about you guys? Linking them is a fantastic way to use the PR you generated to generate fundraising.
Did you have did someone refer you to Mitch, or was this just cold email?
Oh, this was these were cold emails.
Wow.
Cold emails. Like I had my warm emails and warm network. A lot of them ended up investing, but for Mitch, I had never met him. No one. I now know I knew people who knew him, but it was completely cold and it worked because it was different. It wasn't like, it wasn't like everyone, again, Mitch gets 50 to 100 emails through AngelList, and all the angels you're going to reach out to, or VCs will do, especially VCs, man. I know you guys are working with some top VCs with Rock Health. How many things do you think Excel gets per week? 1,000, right? So something different.